Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashoda Nandana Brajanaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hridaya Gaur Premanande Hare. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaur Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15, text number 26. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Jnanadeepa Prade Guru Martyasya Dhi Shrutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sauchavat Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Jnanadeepa Prade Guru Martyasya Dhi Shrutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sauchavat Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Jnanadeepa Prade Guru Martyasya Dhi Shrutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sauchavat. Yes. Yasya Sakshad Bhagavati Jnanadeepa Prade Guru Martyasya Dhi Shrutam Tasya Sarvam Kunjara Sauchavat.
Yasya Sakshat Bhagavati
Yasya Sakshat Bhagavati
Jnanadeepa Prade Guru
Jnanadeepa Prade Guru
Matsya Sadhi Shrutam Tasya
Martya Sadhi Shrutam Tasya
Ram Kunjara Shauchava
Sarvam Kunjara Sauchavat. Word to word meaning. Yasya, one who. Sakshat, directly. Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jnana Deepa Prade, one who enlightens with the torch of knowledge. Guru, unto the spiritual master. Martya Asadhi, considers the spiritual master to be like an ordinary human being and maintains such an unfavorable attitude. Shrutam, Vedic knowledge. Tasya, for him. Sarvam, everything. Kunjara Sauchavat, like the bath of an elephant in a lake. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. The spiritual master should be considered to be directly the Supreme Lord because he gives transcendental knowledge for enlightenment. Consequently, for one who maintains the material conception that the spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like the bathing of an elephant. Purport. It is recommended that one honor the spiritual master as being on an equal status with the Supreme Person of Godhead, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastre. This is enjoined in every scripture, Acharyam Mam Vijaniyat. One should consider the Acharya to be as good as the Supreme Person of Godhead. In spite of all this instruction, if one considers the spiritual master an ordinary human being, one is doomed. His study of the Vedas and his austerities and penances for enlightenment are all useless, like the bathing of an elephant. An elephant bathes in the lake quite thoroughly, but as soon as it comes on the shore, it takes some dust from the ground and strews it over its body. Thus, there is no meaning to the elephant's bath. One may argue by saying that since the spiritual master relatives and the men of his neighborhood consider him an ordinary human being, what is the fault on the part of the disciple who considers spiritual master an ordinary human being? This will be answered in the next verse, but the injunction is that the spiritual master should never be considered an ordinary man. One should strictly adhere to the instructions of the spiritual master, for if he is pleased, certainly the Supreme Person Godhead is pleased. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan na gati kutopi. ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सगन रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगन ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौर तुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी कृष्णानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये इलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all assembled devotees. Mhm. Especially I seek blessings of our Mukta Vande Prabhu, so I can speak something for my own purification. I have no qualifications, and especially to talk on this very exalted topic. But I will try to speak something, just what I heard, and whatever is my little understanding. Am I audible? From where is sound coming? Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Hare. No, you can hold your, what is that called? Chair you can put a chair here and chair you can put. Here is just- Now it is better audible than before. No? Huh? Okay. It is said, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We should daily hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, we see the world not the way the world is, but we see based on our knowledge, uh, based on our intelligence, based on our knowledge, based on our understanding. We see the world and interpret the world accordingly. So if we don't hear Srimad Bhagavatam, naturally we'll hear our mind, or we may hear some mundane materialistic mm, things. We may read newspaper, we may talk to ordinary people. And by reading newspaper, by reading ordinary books, by hearing from ordinary people, or by hearing our own mind, we'll see the world from material point of view. And material point of view is a illusory point of view. And then we'll be entangled in illusory activities in this material world. And in that way, one's valuable human form life may be ruined. So when we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, we are hearing transcendental sound vibration. We are hearing the absolute truth. And we can see the world and deal with the world mm, appropriately without being carried away by the illusions of the world. We have four defects. Our senses are imperfect. We are put in illusion and we commit mistakes, and then there is a tendency to cover the mistake, that is cheating, propensity. Therefore, it's very difficult to get proper understanding of this world by our own mind and senses and intelligence. And then, without proper understanding, one can get distracted uh, and cheated by Maya in this world. But if you want to be saved from being cheated by Maya, it's very important that we Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We daily hear Srimad Bhagavatam and develop spiritual vision to see the world and not see the world with materialistic eyes, with mundane vision. So here we are so blessed that Srila Prabhupada has mm, beautiful purports. He has translated Sanskrit Bhagavatam into English and also has given wonderful purports so that we can understand and see the world through the eyes of Bhagavatam. We should see the world with eyes of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, not with our eyes. Because our eyes are mundane eyes, and we'll be cheated by Maya in this world. So Prabhupada took so much efforts to translate Srimad Bhagavatam and present Bhagavatam. Rather, that was his life's mission. We see daily, day after day, month after month, year after year, to sacrifice night sleep and do something. That means one can understand how much value he had. No, if something is important, we really sacrifice. Sometimes we see people in ordinary world, we see ordinary students. No, an exam is there. We know it's very important. People they sacrifice their night sleep and study. How many of you, any time in your life, sacrifice your night sleep to study? Because you know it's very important. Now, can we sacrifice every day, night sleep, day after day, month after month, year after year? It's very difficult. But proper sacrifice, why? Because we consider it's very important. Yes, whole day he was preaching, whole day was traveling, he was doing so many things, and it was important. But more important than that was actually his writing Bhagavatam, because he was thinking if he gives the message of Bhagavatam, mm, that will not only benefit the present generation, but generation after generation. For next 10,000 years, this Srimad Bhagavatam can guide the conditioned souls mm, in this dark age of Kali. This Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. Krishna, Krishna has appeared after he disappeared from the mundane eyes of this world after performing his pastimes 5,000 years ago. Again, he has appeared. This time, he has appeared in sound vibration in form of Srimad Bhagavatam and also in form of mm, holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But how we know he has appeared in sound vibration as holy names? Is we know from Bhagavata. So Bhagavatam is very important. Therefore, when we see Prabhupada, when he translated first kind of Srimad Bhagavatam, published it in 3 volumes, he felt very confident. He said, yes, now when this Bhagavatam goes to West, this Bhagavatam will bring out revolution in the hearts of impious people. And that will bring out all great fortune. When Srila Prabhupada reached Boston first time, and he saw Boston, he was filled with great pain in heart. He was saying, just see, people are so much influenced by Tamagun and Rajagun. And he was thinking how they will understand this message of Krishna consciousness. But then he had faith. If somehow anybody hears this message about repeatedly, they will be purified. And that will bring about transformation. From mundane point of view, it's practically impossible to believe. How can some people who have never heard about Krishna, how will take the message of Bhagavatam, which is there in Sanskrit, and how will they believe in some mm, history, Ramayana and Mahabharata and all the characters and all the teachings and make it as their life himself? How they will give up sinful activities? Mm. How will they give up sensual dedication and lead life dedicated to self-realization, dedicated to Krishna? Practically impossible to understand with uh, intellectual logic and all these things. But Prabhupada had that faith and Prabhupada had that confidence. Yes, if somehow people can hear this message and chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This will bring revolution. This will purify. This will adjust all the hopeless situation of Kali. And we see Prabhupada simply did this 2 things. He spoke on Bhagavatam and he gave the holy names. Even when he was in New York, 22nd Avenue, he was talking to hippies. He used to talk Bhagavatam. He used to talk about Krishna. And he used to engage them in chanting Hare Krishna. No, it's unbelievable. Sometimes we see people in India, even they don't believe in Krishna and Bhagavatam, what to speak of. But because Prabhupada had faith, Actually, his faith installed faith in the hearts of devotees, and then they took this message, and we see there was actually spiritual revolution. So we are very fortunate that by Master Sri Prabhupada every day we are getting opportunity to hear Bhagavatam, and in that way develop spiritual vision to see the world, and then live life based on that vision. So here we see 7th canto, 15th chapter, the discussion between Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Pandavas. Yudhishthir has asked many questions and Narad Muni is answering. So in this section, Narad Muni is s- speaking about instructions for the civilized human beings. What is civilization? It's not just if you have money, you are civilized. No matter whatever you do. No. One may have money, one may have big name, fame, but if one doesn't follow the instructions of scriptures and one doesn't worship Supreme Lord, he is not considered civilized. So, in this verse, particularly in this section of verses, Arjuna is giving amazing and practical instructions, very inspiring instructions. So, I'll just read some of the instructions. I heard, I guess, what I understand is this section is going on every day. We're discussing. It's a very nice verses. Dharmartham api nehet yatrartham vadano dhanam anihani manasya mahaher iva vrittida. Even if a man is poor, he should not endeavor to improve his economic condition just to maintain his body and soul together or to become famous religionist. Just as great Python, although lying on one place, not endeavoring for his livelihood, gets the food it needs to maintain body and soul. One who is desireless also maintains his livelihood without endeavor. Now, these are instructions for civilized men. So, Narad Singh, one should not unnecessarily endeavor for improving economic condition of life. Now, we see in modern life, whole central basis of everything is economic development. They judge everything based on economic development. They judge spirituality also based on economic development. They speak there's everything. How much person is intelligent, how much person qualified, how much person successful, whatever. Everything is ultimately judged in terms of economy. If you have no money, nobody will consider you intelligent. One time, Prabhupada gave a joke. Uh, one person, one person asked, "Do you have intelligence?" Then he looked at the pocket. So there is money. He said, "I have money in pocket. That means I must be intelligent." So in modern life, everything is just based on money. And sometimes for sake of money, because money has become central, people do anything and everything for sake of money. Sometimes they cheat, sometimes they concoct everything. But here it is said, Narumni saying, even if one is poor, one should not try to improve economic condition. Sometimes people think, "Okay, if one is rich, so we don't have to worry about economic development." But what if one is poor? First, the people think we should do economic development. Then we can think about Krishna consciousness. Because if you have no job, if you have financial problem, how can we be Krishna conscious? Is it possible? So we say, I'm saying no. We may be poor, no problem, but we have to focus on real business of life. Real business of life is not economic development. Or rather, if you have good financial thing, okay, use that in service of Krishna. Purpose of life is self-realization. Purpose of life is Krishna conscious. Purpose of life is to have love for Krishna and go back to Krishna. Hmm? Not economic development. And we see uh, great souls like Narad Muni and following in footsteps. All great souls, they never endeavored for economic development. They're endeavoring for self-realization. We see Prabhupada. Prabhupada had no money. He was struggling. He had some idea that uh, he will do business, earn a lot of money, and in that way assist his spiritual master in spreading Krishna consciousness. But it didn't work that way. But then that did not discourage Prabhupada, and Prabhupada did not give up the idea of spreading Krishna consciousness. He thought, okay, money is one of the means. If I have money, it will help. But that was not the goal. Money or economic means. If it is there, wonderful. If it's not there, doesn't matter. One should not think, no, I don't have money. How can I live my life? What is the use of my life? How can I be Krishna conscious? How can I know preach? How can I should not get over bogged down by it. If you have money, wonderful. Use in Krishna. If you don't have money, doesn't matter. We are not losing much thing in life. And as here it is said, uh, one should know that mm, anyway, Krishna will maintain us. Prabhupada did not say that, no, I don't have money, how can I serve Krishna? How can I serve spiritual master? How can I go to West? How can I spread Krishna consciousness? First I have to earn money, then only I will take second step. No, I had no money, but still he came to America, still he was preaching, still, and then Lakshmi followed. So one should not think of only if I have money I will do other things. No. If you have money, wonderful. If you have no money, no problem. But one should not feel that if I don't have money, how will I survive? Our survival is not based on economic development. Our survival is based on mercy of Krishna. Krishna is providing food, Krishna is providing water, providing air. So Krishna will provide for our maintenance. Maybe there may not be great opulence, but at least maintenance Krishna will provide. And those who are interested in spiritual advancement, mm, they should not be too enthusiastic for economic development. Yes, sometime one can spend in economic development, but one should not be too much absorbed by it. Okay, we have to do our duties, we have to do our fine. 8 hours in a day, whatever, no? We endeavor for economic development, fine. And within that, whatever we get, we should be satisfied. Not that we have to work 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours. Thinking I don't have money. First, I have to have money, then I will practice. Oh, okay, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, endeavor. Whatever we get, be satisfied and move on. And focus on spiritual life. So, so here it is said. Just as great python, all the lying in one place, not entering for life, gets the food it needs to maintain his body and soul. One who is desirous also obtains his life without endeavor. So, if we are focused on Krishna consciousness, Krishna will provide. And Krishna is already providing. Krishna is providing for all the animals. Elephants who are eating thousands of kilos of food, they are getting food. And ants who are eating little, they are also getting food. And even beggars are getting food. So why Krishna will not provide food to his devotees who are endeavoring to serve Krishna? Please Krishna. Hmm? So when we are entering to serve Krishna, Krishna will provide. Hmm. We see all great souls, Madhavendra Puri. We see in recent history, Prabhupada came to America. He had no money, but he focused on service and he got Lakshmi. Hmm. Hmm. Prabhupada was thinking, this Morarji, Srimati Morali. She said, Swamiji, you are going to America, there you will not get vegetarian food. You will have to fast, you will die. The cold is so much. So still proper, he carried some little cereals and something came. But then Prabhupada said, I was thinking maybe I will have to fast. But Krishna arranged. Uh, and all Prabhupada was able to live. It was not that he had to fast and he had to die. Krishna arranged. So anybody who is serving Krishna, Krishna will arrange. When Prabhupada told his three disciples go to mm, London and establish temples, they had no money. They asked Swami, what about Lakshmi? Prabhupada said, my spiritual master did not give me Lakshmi, he just gave me instruction. And I came without money and I preached. So similarly, you also go like, and preach, and Krishna will take care. And actually they took care. Krishna took care. It was not that they had to fast and they died. So when one is engaged in service of Krishna, Krishna will take care. Yes, we may have to do some job, we may have to maintain something. But okay, some efforts are good enough. That should not be the central focus of life. That should not be the central goal of life. Similarly, when we are trying to run a temple, yes, we may have to think about some how to develop financially all that. But that should not be the main thing. Main thing should be how to serve Krishna, how to spread Krishna consciousness, and then everything else will follow. So, next, here it is said, one who is content and satisfied and who links his activities with Supreme Person Godhead, residing in everyone's heart, enjoys transcendental happiness without entering for his livelihood. So, if you are satisfied, what if Krishna has given me $1 billion, wonderful. Or Krishna has given me $1 million, wonderful. Krishna has given me a few dollars, wonderful, no problem. But if one is able to be satisfied in whatever situation, mm, mm, by connecting everything to Krishna, by engaging Krishna, then he can find great happiness, transcendent happiness. Where is such happiness for materialist man who is impelled by lust and greed and who therefore wanders in all directions with a desire to accumulate wealth? But materialist person who makes money as goal of life, he is impelled by lust and greed, and he can't break all the laws of God, use up his character, does all cheating and gets a lot of money. How can he be satisfied? How can he be happy? He may get money, but he won't be happy. But devotee, he may not have money, but he is satisfied. For a person who has suitable shoes on his feet, there is no danger. Even he walks on pebbles and thorns. For him, everything is auspicious. Similarly, for one who is always self-satisfied, there is no distress. Indeed, he feels happiness everywhere. So one should wear the shoes of satisfaction. Imagine we have nice shoes, then we can walk fearlessly, even if there are pebbles and thorns, all this thing, no problem. If there are no shoes, pebbles are there, it will be very painful, and thorns are there. Oh, thorns pierce the feet, it will be so miserable. But when shoes are there, thorns cannot pierce the feet. So similarly, when we wear the shoes of satisfaction, then miseries of this world will not affect. But if one is not satisfied in whatever situation Krishna has put us, then he'll be always disturbed. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, this, that. And then when he tries to satisfy all his material needs, then whole life will be gone. Time is so short. How time flows we don't realize. So one who understands the purpose of life, is focused on purpose of life and doesn't too much focus on this. So now he continues, my dear king, a self-satisfied person can be happy even with only drinking water. However, one who is driven by senses, especially by tongue and genitals, must accept the position of household dog to satisfy his senses. You say, Prabhupada say that modern education is making people dog. Dog means he needs a master. Like people do big education, but if you don't have a job, they think their life is useless. Actually, we have eternal job, service to Krishna. That's the real business of life. And to serve Krishna, to maintain family, we may need some finance, fine. But it's not that if we doesn't have job, life is a waste. But now modern education have brainwashed people. They think without job, my life is useless. This is like a dog. A dog who has no master is very miserable. So, and if one wants to just satisfy tongue and belly and genitals, then his life becomes very miserable. But if one is controlled with mind and senses and engaged in service of Krishna, one can be satisfied in all situation. Even if there is no food, here is saying one can peacefully stay by drinking water. 1 2 days food will not be there, no problem. One can drink water and stay. So that are these are principles for spiritual advancement. One may think, "Arey, what is this project? Too much." Yes, from material point of view, it is too much. But from spiritual point of view, this is actually very logical. When one is focused on goal of life, yes, other things will follow. And then he says, because of greed, for sake of the senses, the spiritual strength, education, austerity, and reputation of a devotee or a brahmana who is not self-satisfied dwindle, and his knowledge gradually vanishes. If you run behind senses, if you run behind money, then all one's good qualifications are ruined. If one is greedy, in 11th canto it is said that one may be very beautiful, but if he has leprosy point, leprosy on his face, little bit spot, his or her all beauty is spoiled. He or she may be most beautiful, but one little spot of leprosy spoils all beauty. Similarly, one may have many wonderful college qualities. He may have great education. He may uh, great reputation, whatever. But if he's greedy for money, everything is spoiled. So one should not be greedy. One should be satisfied as far as money is concerned. One should not be satisfied as far as service is concerned. We want to serve more and more. But as far as money is concerned, whatever Krishna arranges, one should be satisfied with that. No, this is favorable for our spiritual life. So, ones whose goal is not Krishna consciousness, for them this may appear very strange and illogical instructions. But for those whose goal is Krishna consciousness, these are very natural. And then one can advance very nicely in spiritual life. Next verse. The bodily strength. So the strong bodily desires and needs of a person disturbed by hunger and thirst are certainly satisfied when he eats. Similarly, if one becomes very angry, that anger is satisfied by chastisement and its reaction. But as far as greed, even if a greedy person has conquered all the direction of the world or has enjoyed everything in the world, still he will not be satisfied. So here it is mentioned that lust and this desires and anger may be satisfied sometime, but greed is such a thing that can never be satisfied. If you are not satisfied with what Krishna has given now, if somebody is earning $100, when one is not satisfied with $100, even if he gets $1,000, he will not be satisfied. And if he's not satisfied, if he's earning $1,000, he is not satisfied with that. Even if he gets $10 million, he will not be satisfied. So as far as finances are concerned, one should be satisfied. But as far as Krishna consciousness is concerned, one should not be satisfied. One should not be satisfied. Oh, I'm chanting one round, be happy. No. Chant one, I have to chant more rounds. I have to chant 4 rounds, 8 rounds, 6 rounds. I'm chanting 6 rounds, I should chant more. I'm doing one service, I should do more service. So we should not be satisfied with our Krishna consciousness. We should be greedy in Krishna consciousness. Laulyam apeka mulyam. One prize to achieve Krishna consciousness is we should be greedy spiritually. And one way to destroy our Krishna consciousness is one can be greedy materially. If you are greedy materially for more and more money, our spiritual life will be finished. But if you are greedy spiritually, will flourish in Krishna consciousness. So we see Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they were greedy. They had so much power, so much money, but they are not satisfied. So even if we become conqueror of whole world, still one will not be satisfied. If you are not satisfied with whatever Krishna has given. So here it is said, if one is hungry and thirsty, if he little eat and some little drink water, he will be satisfied for some time. If one is angry, he just shouts at other person, he will be little peaceful. But this greed for money, never satisfied. So it's among all these things, this scared this thing. Next, Narada is telling to Yudhishthira, O King Yudhishthira, many persons with varied experience, many legal advisors, many learned scholars, and many persons eligible to become presidents of learned assemblies fall down into hellish life because of not being satisfied with their position. So, materially we should be satisfied. If materially we are not satisfied, then we will be degraded. I remember one time we were in Albert Road, Calcutta temple. We were in meeting that time. Radha Maharaj came. We immediately stood up and received him. Maharaj, what's going on? And then we had temple council meeting. Maharaj, we are having temple council meeting. Maharaj said, asked, what is the agenda you are discussing? That time our agenda was, we were discussing about some finances of the temple, you know. He said, Maharaj, we're discussing about some funds and finances of this temple. Sundar Maharaj said, funds or no funds, Krishna consciousness is great fun. If you have funds, wonderful. Krishna consciousness, we can very elaborately, wonderfully serve Krishna, opulently serve Krishna. But even if you don't have funds, no problem. Serving Krishna, hearing, chanting, you know, it's a blissful instant. One should not think, "Arey, now there is no fund and we are in great misery and what to do and whole life is a waste now, you know, and too much stress and anxiety, you know. Whatever Krishna has given resources, within that we serve Krishna. If you have given us $1 billion, we will spend $1 billion in service of Krishna. If Krishna given $100, we will spend $100 serve Krishna. Ultimately, and if you have nothing, one can mentally also serve Krishna. They can mentally offer bhoga to Krishna. Can mentally offer flowers to Krishna. And Krishna will accept that. We don't have to cheat. We don't have to take to illegal means, improper means on these things. So funds or no funds, Krishna can grant great fun. We can be happy if we are Krishna conscious. So here Narvin is saying that person may be very expert, many very great scholar, and maybe very respectable person, but he also fall down if he is not satisfied and he endeavors and he focuses on material economic development. If he makes that as a central focus of life. So there should not be greed for oneself, but greed for Krishna is okay. Spreading Krishna consciousness. You know. And now there are some nice practical instructions. Asankalpa jayet kamam क्रोधम काम विवर्जनात् अर्थनार्थिक क्षयाय लोभम भयम तत्व विमर्शनात्. Narad Singh, by making plans with determination, one should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. Similarly, by giving up envy, one should conquer anger. By discussing the disadvantages of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. And by discussing the truth, one should give up fear. So here, very practical things are mentioned. Mm. That by determination, one can give up lust. Mm. Sometimes lust, attraction to opposite sex, maybe they're in heart, and it's very difficult to give up year after year, decades after decades. But one can conquer over it by determination here itself. Srila Vishwanath Thakur has suggested how one can conquer lust desires for sense gratification. One cannot give up thinking of woman, for thinking in this way is natural. Even while walking on the street, one will see so many women. However, if one is determined not to live with a woman, even while seeing a woman, he will not become lusty. If one is determined not to have sex, he can automatically conquer lusty desires. The example given in this regard is that even if one is hungry, if on a particular day he is determined to observe fasting, he can naturally conquer the disturbance of hunger and thirst. If one is determined not to be envious of anyone, he can naturally conquer anger. So sometimes, normally 9 o'clock we become hungry, isn't it? As soon as 9, we know now it's a breakfast time, we feel hungry. And if class extends 5-10 minutes, one will become very disturbed. What is this? No, time is up. Where is time? Oh, already 9 o'clock, huh? Time is up. So one will be very disturbed. Why this late, you know? But if Nirjala Kaddish is there, we,
Get watch life.
huh?
Yes, get watch life.
So if Nirjala Kaddish is there, then we don't feel hungry. We know anyway there is no prasad. So, and one can live on Nirjala Kaddish. It's not that Nirjala Kaddish one will die. Because it's just mental adjustment. If you do now, tomorrow is Nirjala Kaddashi, I'm not going to eat. We are able to survive. How many of you have survived Nirjala Ekadashis? Other days very difficult. So when you have made a sankalpa, now this Ekadashi I'm going to do Nirjal Ekadashi. When we do that sankalpa, it is possible to do it. But if you have not done sankalpa, 9 o'clock immediately one will feel hungry. Hmm. Similarly, if you do sankalpa, yes, I'm going to avoid session of the opposite sex. I'm not going to have any, mm, mm, uh, especially those who are brahmacharis. If they are determined, I want to remain uh, celibate whole life. If he is determined, it's possible. Though thoughts may come, like sometimes fasting day, some thoughts may come of eating. But if you're a little determined, we can fast whole day. Okay. Like Nirjala Ekadashi, we can do fasting for one whole day without water. Similarly, one can fast from association opposite sex for one life. So that is possible by determination. But if it's not determined, then it's not possible. Similarly, those who are grihasthas, one should be satisfied in one's family life. One should not endeavor to strike relationship outside marriage. One should be happy with one spouse and live with one spouse. One should unnecessarily not, try to divorce and then go for another this thing and make life very complicated. Okay, whatever Krishna is, and be satisfied and remain faithful and do nicely focused on service of Krishna and go on. Maybe try to gratify senses. Then even if marry 100 times, one will not be satisfied. Mhm. No man or no woman in the world can actually uh, satisfy us. So there's no end to it. So it's yes, if you want to marry, yes, wonderful marry, but one has to be satisfied. And with determination, we should give up lust. Similarly, one can give up the desire to accumulate wealth by considering how difficult it is to protect money in one's possession. If one keeps a large amount of cash with him, he is always anxious about keeping it properly. Thus, if one discusses the disadvantages of accumulating wealth, he can naturally give up this greed. Next, by discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. Yeah. Modern life is hankering and lamentation, hankering lamentation, because that is what mind is. But daily, if you read Bhagavatam, hear spiritual message, then one can give up this hankering and lamentation. By serving great devotee, one can become prideless. If you are not in association of devotees, naturally one becomes puffed up. And if one is practicing Krishna, I think that's, yeah, what a great devotee I am. But when one assists with great devotees, serve them by seeing their humility and say, wow, right, they're so great, they're so, but still they're so humble. So we can also become humble by serving them. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles in path of mystic yoga, and simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy. Envy. Why there is envy? Because they are attached to sense gratification. I have this much sense gratification. Somebody has more sense gratification, we become envious. But if we give desire for sense gratification, then envy is also gone. And then, by good behavior and freedom from envy, one should counteract sufferings due to other living entities. By meditating in trance, one should counteract suffering due to providence, and by practicing Hatha Yoga, pranayam, and so forth, one can counteract suffering due to body and mind. Similarly, by developing the mode of goodness, especially in regard to eating, one should conquer sleep. Eating and sleeping are very much related. If you eat too much, then you have to sleep too much. Controlling eating, controlling sleeping. One must conquer the mode of passion and ignorance by developing mode of goodness. And then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by promoting oneself to platforms Shuddha Sattva. All this can be ultimately done if one engages in service of spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer influence of modes of material nature. So this is the most important point. I was trying to come to this point. All this lust, greed, envy, all these things are there because of influence of Tamogun Rajagun. And one can conquer influence of Tamogun Rajagun by being in goodness. But goodness also binds. And by surrendering to spiritual master, by following in spiritual master, actually one can rise above goodness. one can come to Shuddha Sattva. And when we are Shuddha Sattva, when we are traveling, then actually we can free from all this, all the whatever things have been spoken till now, all the challenges, all the troubles of this material world. So secret of rising above modes of material nature, secret about saving oneself from lust and greed and envy and pride and all the challenges of this material world is uh, taking shelter of spiritual master. By following his instructions, we can come to Shuddha Sattva. By being Shuddha Sattva, we transcend Tamagun, Rajagun, and Sattvagun. And now today's verse. The spiritual master should be considered directly to be the spiritual master should be considered to be directly the supreme lord because he gives trans knowledge for enlightenment. Constantly for one who maintains the material conception that spiritual master is an ordinary human being, everything is frustrated. His enlightenment and his Vedic studies and knowledge are like bathing of an elephant. So actually, in this material world is a very difficult place. It's like getting trapped in a quicksand, dal dal. How many of you know quicksand or dal dal? One gets into it, one just start going down and down. And if you try to move yourself and try to save yourself and rise above the what happens? One goes further deeper. That is challenge. Challenge of dal is that if you don't endeavor, you will slowly drown in that dal and die. And if you endeavor, you will quickly drown and you die quickly. This is material world. If you endeavor, you will go quickly drowned in this and you will get trapped and suffer. And don't endeavor, by default you will be trapped. So there's no way out. A person who is trapped in dal, quicksand, how can he be saved? On his own, he can never be saved. Hmm? Only way is if some person who is not in dal, he extends help, then he can be saved. Similarly, a person who is not caught up in these three modes of mental nature, actually he can save those who are trapped in this quicksand. Similarly, if our hands and legs are bound, we can't save ourselves. Only person who is free, he can free us. Similarly said, those of us who are entrapped in these three modes of material nature, only way is if one takes shelter of spiritual master. He can save us from these three modes of material nature. But however, if one considers spiritual master to be ordinary, if we think that he is also within these three modes of material nature, then how one can be saved? If we take spiritual master ordinary, we'll take his instructions also to be ordinary. And we take his instructions to be ordinary, then how can we be saved from this dal of material existence? So, to the degree we take spiritual instructions from spiritual master seriously, to that degree we can be saved from this material existence. But one will not take spiritual master seriously if one considers, one will not take spiritual master instructions seriously if one considers spiritual master ordinary. Prabhupada in the beginning, before starting Bhagavad writes in the introduction that if you are reading Bhagavad, first you understand Krishna is supreme person Godhead. If you take Krishna to be ordinary person, then there is no use of studying Bhagavad Gita. Because if you take Krishna ordinary, then you will take his words also ordinary. Then what is the use of studying? Only when you understand Krishna is supreme person Godhead, his words are absolute truth. That means for everybody is good. So when we read Bhagavad, then we'll have benefit. You read with that faith, then we'll follow and it will benefit us. Similarly, if you take spiritual master seriously, if you understand spiritual master representative of Krishna, so he's as good as Krishna. His instructions are as good as Krishna. Because our heart is contaminated. We are not able to access Krishna within our heart. Krishna is there in our heart as Paramatma. Paramatma is always guiding us, but we are not able to hear the voice of Paramatma because in our heart the voice of self-gratification very loud. Our mind is howling and screaming, and therefore we are not able to hear the words of Paramatma. Sometimes there is too much noise. We can't hear the words spoken. Imagine here some big Melar procession comes and they start banging and all these things. We may have class, but nobody will be able to hear. So, like that. So, there is though Supreme Lord is in heart, but in our heart there's so much of noise. We are not able to hear Krishna's words. Therefore, it's Krishna's mercy that Krishna manifests externally in form of spiritual master. So, spiritual master is it's representative of Krishna. So, whatever Krishna is saying in the heart, same thing spiritual master says, and same thing is there in scriptures also. Whatever Krishna wants to say, he has given in scriptures, and whatever Krishna wants to say is also repeated by spiritual master. And whatever Krishna wants to say, one can hear in the heart also. If one follows Guru and Sadhu and Shastras, then gradually one will be purified. And one is purified, the noise in heart will be stopped. And then one can hear a Paramatma also. And then one will be amazed. Array, what Guru is saying is same, what scripture is saying is same, what Lord is speaking in heart. There is no contradiction. But imagine if you don't uh, listen to spiritual master, if you don't listen to scriptures, then we won't be purified. And if we are not purified, whole life will always remain in confusion, whether it's right or wrong, whether to follow or not follow, So one will remain whole confusion. But if one follows instruction of scriptures, instruction of Guru, with faith, in the beginning, gradually one will be purified, and then all doubts will be gone. In the beginning, there will be some doubts, whether it's right or wrong, what this or that. But then when it's purified, then one can hear the voice of Paramatma in the heart. And when one is able to hear the voice of Paramatma, then, and one can say, yes, spiritual master is also saying same thing. Then one faith becomes, but in the beginning, one may have to have that faith. So, therefore, one should learn to honor and respect spiritual master. Therefore, in Krishna consciousness, every day, daily, we do Guru Puja. First thing we get up in the morning and we do is we sing Guru Ashtakam, glorification of spiritual. Why? Because he's our hope in this world. If we glorify spiritual master, if we develop respect for him, then we'll be able to respect his words. We'll be able to respect his instruction. And if we are able to respect his words and instruction, then we can follow. And if we follow, then we can be saved from this three modes of materialism. We can be saved from this material entanglement. But if you don't respect spiritual master, then naturally we will not be able to respect his instructions. And if you don't respect his instructions, what is way out? You will remain entangled in this world. So it's very important that we respect spiritual master. And in the beginning, when we start, in the beginning, when we have little faith in Krishna, if you have little faith in one, Krishna will send the spiritual master. When you have little faith in spiritual master, by mercy of spiritual master, one will get association devotees. When we have faith in devotees, then our life becomes very peaceful. So it's very important that we develop faith in devotees also. Not that I have faith in spiritual master and I have no faith in anybody else. That is not a. If one has faith in spiritual master, one can follow instruction of spiritual master. And spiritual master instruction is Trunadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasishna Amanina Mandira Kirtani Sudari. Become humble. Honor and respect other devotees. Serve other devotees. Don't expect respect. When we follow this, then actually living on station devotee become very joyful. You honor and respect devotees and see good in others, then we'll say, oh, this devotee is so wonderful. And then we can serve devotees nicely. If we are able to respect devotees, then we can serve them. And we are able to serve them, then we can experience Vaikuntha living in temple. But If you don't respect devotees, if you think, oh, this devotee, what are these devotees? They're useless. And we think ourselves better than other devotees. And we start finding faults and we start criticizing devotees. Then even one is living in temple, it will appear like hell. And one will not be able to live in association. One will go away from association. So, if you really want to benefit by the mercy and instruction of spiritual master, just respecting spiritual master is not sufficient. We have to respect his instructions. And respecting instruction means most important instruction is to respect devotees. So, if you learn this art of honoring and respecting devotees, then one can be very peaceful. One can very nicely progress in spiritual life. But one fails in honoring and respecting devotees, then his life will be messed up. So, not only considering spiritual master ordinary is a big problem, but if you consider devotees also with whom we are staying ordinary, that also will have a big problem. Because if you consider the devotees with whom I'm staying, oh, that's just materialistic person. Oh. And if we take them lightly, we offend them. So in the beginning we may offend devotees, we may offend equal devotees, then we may offend senior devotees, then we may offer more senior devotees, then we'll offer more senior devotees, then we may offer proper disciples, offend, then we may offend spiritual master. We may offend spiritual master now, then next we'll offend Prabhupada. And then we offend Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur and all other acharyas. And then we may offend even Nitai Gauranga, and then we may offend even Radha and Krishna. There's no end to it. When we develop this offensive mentality, there's no end to that. And then whole our spiritual life will be ruined. So therefore, we should learn to honor and respect every devotee. If we are able to honor and respect every devotee, and then our spiritual life will be able to progress nicely. I remember one Rath Yatra, His Holiness Japat Maharaj, Maharaj, one devotee, how can we have a happy Krishna conscious family life? Japat Maharaj said, you should marry a spouse which is more advanced than you, he said. Then you will be happy in Krishna consciousness. And I was just reflecting that, if one thinks my spouse is more advanced than me, he'll naturally respect. And then their family life will be very wonderful. But if we think, oh, what is this, my spouse? He or she is not very advanced. I'm better than him or her. Then that home will be like a very hellish home. But one is able to respect spouse, understand how he or she is more advanced than me. Then one can serve, one can please, one can everything will be wonderful. Similarly, in devotee association also. Hmm? If you think other devotees are more advanced than me, we can respect them, we can serve them, then life becomes very blissful. But if we think, oh, what is this other devotees? No, they're useless, good for nothing. I am the best devotee. Then our spiritual life will be very, very miserable. So, in our practical life, this is the most important thing. We should not take, what to speak of not taking spiritual master role to be ordinary. We should not take devotees to be ordinary. We should understand. Prabhupada said, if you know who this devotee is, you will faint. So this Krishna is so rare, things Krishna is so rare, and devotees are so rare. And this Krishna is being cultivated after millions of lifetimes, not just one lifetime thing. And for devotees, this last life. Huh? So, and we are so blessed to stay in association of such blessed devotees, fortunate devotees, actually to come and serve Krishna and make Krishna God's goal of life, to chant 16 rounds, follow for it. It's not an easy thing. Anybody chanting 16 rounds, following for the principles, they are very, very, very special people. In ordinary world, we see if somebody is billionaire, people respect them. And they may have so many bad qualities, they overlook that. Yes or no? Somebody is having big position. Mm. Mm. He may have many bad qualities, but still people overlook them and still respect them, isn't it? And that is for ordinary things. What to speak of devotees? Devotees are so dear to Krishna. They're chanting 16 rounds, following for it, because they're serving Krishna. They're very dear. They're intimate family members of Krishna. So even if we see some small plus minus, we should overlook that. We should not make it into a big thing. We should know they're very dear to Krishna. They're chanting Hare Krishna. I should honor them, respect them, serve them, please them. And in that way, life will be perfect. If we are able to honor and serve and please devotees living with whom we are living, then honoring and serving and pleasing spiritual master is not a difficult thing. But if we are not able to honor and respect and serve devotees with whom are living, then respecting spiritual master is not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. Hmm? And if you want to honor and serve and respect devotees with whom we are living, we should uh, have spiritual discussion with them. We should hear from them. Therefore, hearing classes from devotees or hearing Krishna Katha from devotees is very important. When we hear from them, we'll see their realizations. Oh, he's so advanced. He has such amazing realizations. So when we hear them speak Krishna conscious things, that earns trust in our heart for them. That helps us to honor and respect them. But if we just talk prajalpa, mundane things, then we'll see them materially, and then we may disrespect them. So it's our choice. If we want to honor and respect devotees, we have to consciously make efforts to have Krishna conscious talks and avoid prajalpa. But if we do prajalpa, then we'll see people in from material point of view, and we may offend them, disrespect them, and then our spiritual life may be difficult. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Sure.
His Grace Muktamandi Prabhu. You want to add something?
I would just
Haribo.
every, I don't need that. I don't need that. I can
Everybody can hear.
just everything in Krishna consciousness. We're like completely opposite. Materialistic sense gratification is good. We say sense gratification is bad. They say greed is good. We say greed is bad. They say I am the body. We say we're not the body. Everything we do and think is not everything we do, but all our attitudes, all our everything we think is like completely opposite. We're not like we used to be. I'm not like I used to be. And we want everyone else to change too. We don't want this. I heard somebody say that there's an idea in devotee, among devotees, some devotees, that we should present ourselves in public as devotees because people will think we're different and they won't want to know us. But the whole point of Krishna consciousness is that we're different. We want to show them we're different and we want them to be like us. We want them to be different. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that.
Jai. Haribo. Anybody wants to comment?
So he says in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 10.1, Prabhupada says that if you're anxious to be Krishna conscious, then discourses and devotees will happen automatically. Discourses on Krishna Katha, Srimad Bhagavatam automatically happens. So I also
Yes.
very much believe this point that it's very important to hear from devotees Krishna Katha. It's very important. Somewhere.
Yes.
Until you don't hear them, because sometimes even seeing them also may not able to understand their intentions, their attitudes, their realizations.
Yes.
And we already have some wonderful intentions and attitudes. And Krishna consciousness is there. So it becomes very difficult otherwise. So it's important to hear someone else from devotees.
In this material world, somebody chanting Hare Krishna, trying to give some not easy thing. And he won't do unless he has some realizations. Yes.
For
Thank you.
me also, when I sometimes, like as in the early days, we will not know some devotees. We see some external behavior and this and that. But when we heard them, somehow that some class happened or something, heard them sharing something. Or when we heard from some devotees about that devotee also. So that actually makes the vision proper.
Yes.
You can see them in that perspective.
Yes.
Otherwise, material mind is always like, that's as you said, I'm better than others, or that's I'm small. That's not.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Motherji, you want to add something? Comment something? Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare. Okay. Mahaprasad ki jai.